Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first video in the TECTA Database training series. Today I'm going to be doing just a brief overview of where the TECTA Database is and give you a couple of assignments to do to kind of familiarize yourself with it if it's the first time you've been in the database. So in order to access the TECTA Database, you do need to have an active internet connection and a browser. I happen to use Mozilla Firefox because it gives you a much more secure environment than Internet Explorer, and for some reason the database just really operates better in Firefox. I'm going to open my database with my shortcut button. Now you can have bookmarks, you can have shortcuts, you can have desktop shortcuts. Really it's whatever you're comfortable with. I just happen to choose the shortcut button. The URL for the database though is www.tecta.org/TECTA_data. All right, in order to get into the database, you need to have a login. Now, before we talk about logins, let's talk about user roles. There are many different types of user roles in our database, but for our purposes today, we're going to talk about two of those. That is the data entry row and a read-only row. No matter what type of role you have, everybody needs to have a username and password, and that needs to be kept secure and not shared with anyone else at your work site. Now, if you are a read-only person, you have the ability to go into the database, look up student information, look up class information, orientation information, but you can't make any changes or modifications in the database. A data entry role means that you have the ability to not only look at everything, but you can edit and add new data to the database. So what we do is we log into the database. And it'll bring you to this opening screen. Now, what you will see about this screen is that at the top there is what we call the red toolbar. And across these red toolbars in these different areas, you will see drop downs that have different places for you to go and enter data. We will be looking at each of these much more in depth in the videos to come. So just hang on and enjoy not having to do it all today in one setting. Where I would like for you to go today is I would like for you to go to Downloads and Manuals, and I would like for you to download two documents. The first document is the TECTA Database documentation. I'm going to open with, okay. And I always open my PDFs with Adobe Acrobat. Now, the TECTA documentation is a pretty large document, and what it does is it goes page by page, screen by screen over what you're going to find in the database. And so it gives you some information and tells you some steps to take or what happens on that page. What I really would like to talk to you about is how good this piece is for finding definitions. Sometimes you have statuses and drop-down choices you need to make that you don't know the definition to the status. And this is really good because, as you can see here, this is a class status example. Here is the drop-down, what came under that drop-down: canceled, complete, deceased, failed, in progress. But beside each one is the definition. So if you're ever in doubt about what a status means, it's always advisable to go to the TECTA documentation manual, and you should be able to find the definition in there. I try to upload this and with any changes on a quarterly basis, so it's always up to date and should be a fairly good resource for you to use. The next document I would like for you to download is the TECTA data flowchart. I click on the radio button, hit submit, open with, okay, Adobe Acrobat for me. Now this is the backbone of our TECTA training system. This document gives you step-by-step instructions on how to do just about everything that you need to do in the database. The thing with this is that it is a linear document if you print it out, and that isn't always necessarily useful for you in data entry. The good thing about it is if you save this document on your desktop, it then becomes interactive. So if you are setting up orientations and you get here where it says set up the orientation and you've never set an orientation up, click on the little triangle underneath and it takes you to directions on how to set up orientations. Then you can just go back to where you were, because the next thing you had to do was run and mail makeup information. Well, you've never pulled makeup information. How do you do that? Click on the arrow and it takes you to how to do that. When you're finished, you can go back. So as you can see, this is very valuable when you are learning how to do data entry in the database. But not only that, if you've been entering data for a while, this can also be a very useful tool to just refresh and make sure that you're not forgetting small steps. Because sometimes we all get in a rut where we do it the way we always do it, and those little things get kind of knocked off to the edges. I know that as I'm building these videos and working with you, I'm having to refresh myself again too on the exact steps for proper data entry. So it is a good tool to use to refresh yourself as well as while you're learning how to navigate in the database system. So before we close today, I do have one more thing I want to show you and I would like for you to do. When you finish with this video, I would like you to go to the staff drop down, find staff, and I would like for you to find yourself in the database. Once you do that, I would like for you to look through your information and I would like for you to verify that it is all correct. Now, if you're a read-only person and you need some edits to be made, you will need to get with your site coordinator or your site's data entry person and have them update that for you. If you're a data entry person, then you can update that information yourself. This will ensure that we start 2014 with an updated staff information list and that everything's good and that I can find your phone number no matter where I am just by looking in the database. So, all right guys, thank you for bearing with us on this first video. I hope you are excited about the prospects of how we can use some video training to enhance our data entry skills. We will be putting these out frequently and getting them out there for you guys to use. I welcome your feedback and I welcome your participation in this process. But remember, just because we put videos out there doesn't mean that we're not available. And if you have a question or a problem at any time, please feel free to call and make sure that you're getting the help you need to be successful in your data entry. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.